Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody on Facebook Live. Yes, you intentionally can't see me on Facebook Live. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to chapters 5, 6, and 7. I hope those 3 chapters weren't a big burden to anybody. You know, I got through them pretty quickly because it was just a couple of pages here and there. But I thought it was amazing. You know, she says that with the purple bags, that she will close 6 to 8 kits a month, and then if you toss one of these vendor events in here, that was another 4 to 6 kits at a vendor event. So if you count all those up, that's like 12 kits a month, which
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah, and that's not counting kits that, you know, would be sold in classes and stuff like that either. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I can tell you that I built most of my business at vendor events. And when I would go to vendor events with flip kits, I would typically sell all of the flip kits that I had. So it was kind of like if I brought 6 kits with me, that's what I would sell. If I brought 10 kits with me, that's what I would sell. I never brought more than 10 kits, but I had this idea when I was first starting my Young Living business, and that was I wanted everybody on my team to know that you can have a thriving Young Living business with just what comes in the box. And you don't really need anything else. Like everything else is just extra. So when I would go and I would do a vendor event, and I know this is chapter 7, and I promise we'll wrap back around to chapters 5 and, no, this is chapter 6. We'll wrap back around to chapter 5 here in a sec. When I would only have a tablecloth. I got a tablecloth that had the Young Living logo on it from Life Science Publishing. It was a purple one. And so I would spread that out, and honest to goodness, the only thing that I would have on that table would be my starter kit. I would have a clipboard that would allow people to sign up for classes. I would have my laptop or my tablet so that I could sign people up to purchase kits. And many times that was all I needed. So you can do some very bougie vendor event tables with lots of stuff and lots of tables and haul things back and forth. But I'm telling you, I averaged 6 kits per vendor event that I did. And the only thing that I would have on that table, and I'll just repeat it for the new people who just joined us, but the only thing that I would have on that table would be the kit, would be a clipboard for people to sign up for classes, and would be my iPad or my laptop so that I could actually have people sign up right there. I would not allow somebody to walk away with a kit unless I actually had them signing up on the website. And that was a lesson that I learned because I used to just bring like paper order forms that I would print off from the Young Living back office, and I would have people fill out the order form, or I would fill it out for them with their credit card. And then when I got home, I would process all of my orders. And more than once, somebody's credit card didn't go through, and then I couldn't get a hold of them. So that's why I kind of changed my policy, and I started bringing an iPad or a tablet with me, or a laptop, so that people could sign up right there and I could run their credit card. But yeah, vendor events, definitely a great way to build your business. And then just in my personal experience with vendor events, I found that the cheaper or more crazy the vendor event was, the more success I had at sales. So I went to a huge vendor event where the table was like $600. I split it with another member of the team. It was like a women's health event. And even though I got a lot of leads, like I got a big stack of leads, it didn't really culminate in many sales, or even in many, you know, people that I could contact later or could even get a hold of later. I had like a free drawing that people could enter, so I got a lot of leads. But that didn't equal a lot of sales, and the $600 for the table was a little pricey. Then I did Lovapalooza in Colorado Springs. It was $50 for a table, and I sold like 10 kits at this thing. And so I always just kind of stuck with really inexpensive but very niched events, and that seemed to be the sweet spot. So Donna, have you done events before?
I actually have not, and it's interesting that we're talking about this because I do have someone on my team who is not a business builder, but she does vendor events every single week, not with Young Living. Like she sells like sea moss. There's a lot of people selling that sea moss, and so she sells products that she actually makes in her house. And I didn't even know that she did this. And when I found out, I'm like, you know how much money you could be making if you added oils to your table, And she kind of feels overwhelmed, but she has offered to allow me to actually sell through her table and build a leg underneath of her. So it's something that I'm actually thinking about, but I want to ask you, since you have the experience, what do you think it was about your table? Was it the display of the kit? Like, what is it that actually drew people to your table?
Well, so I had at my table, I'm not sure. I know that I would never stand behind my table. I would always be out in front of the table. And then sometimes I would also just, so if my event was outside and I knew that it was going to be a hot day, I actually would add a big cooler of water with some cups. And then when people came to get water, because the water was free, I would just ask them if they would like to put an oil or two in the water. Now, I'm excited to see
Nice.
what Sarah Harnisch's script is because I know she said there's a whole chapter on it. For me, I would just ask people, like if people showed interest or kind of slowed down as they passed, I would just ask them if they ever have heard of essential oils. And that was like my go to question. I would also ask, hey, have you ever tried essential oils? And then hearing what they said, I would just ask them, so would you like to try these essential oils? And then, I would have all of my little oils out from my kit. And I mean, we would go through 3 or 4 oils sometimes with someone.
Okay, interesting. Well, that's a lot of good tips because it is something that I'm definitely looking at this summer since I do have an avenue to do that. It's not my table, but the person is on my team, so I'm excited to try that.
Yeah, yeah, me too, actually. It did kind of get my interest going again and trying to find some local events.
So when I set up at a vendor event, I've never gotten 12 people in a day. That's amazing. Good for you. But one of the things I make sure of is that I'm diffusing oils in the kit. I never diffuse oils outside of the kit. Always stress away. Almost always lemon, lavender, and peppermint. Thieves in the winter. And I have all of the diffusers set up and going. I want people to experience the oils. I also have a kit out there just for display, and I have a kit of oils that they can try if they want to. I'm Kathy Hampton speaking.
Yeah, that's good too. I know. Well, I would honestly, the only thing on my table would just be my starter kit with all the oils there that people could smell. But, maybe having like one that's untouched and on display might be a good idea too. So, but I mean, I'm telling you, the only reason why I would sell kits is because I had ones that people could walk away with. So, and what's funny is that when I sold out of my kits, I typically wouldn't sell another kit even if the person who was coming up, I always offered to have the kit shipped to them. And I would tell them that, because of the way that it works in the system, they were paying, at this point, now shipping's free, but at that point I would be like, well, you are going to have a small shipping charge on there anyway. So if you don't want to lug this around the event, I could always have it shipped to you directly from the system. So it's like sometimes I would sell more than the kits that I brought with me. But it was like the second they had to have that kit shipped to them, I don't know what the deal was. Maybe it was my confidence. I don't know. But it was like I would never sell another kit once my last, flip kit was gone.
Well, let me ask you this. So when you do the flip kits, then you have to go into their account and have a kit shipped to you to replace it, correct?
Uh-huh.
So then do you have to do you just kind of teach them to kind of go into their account and then get your address out of there, or do you just do it? Like, what are the logistics of that?
Oh, I would usually just do it later. So what I would do is on my tablet, I would go to youngliving.com and then select the become a member button. And then I would fill in I would select the kit for them, put in my member number for their enroller and sponsor, go through to the next screen, and then when it asked them for their personal information, I would just turn the iPad around and let them fill all of it in. And then at the very end, when it was asking for the shipping address, I would put in my shipping address, and then I would let them know that I will update the system later, that this was just replacing the kit that they were walking away with. And yeah, I never had anybody that had a problem with it.
Okay, no, that's good.
This is Cheryl speaking. Another way that I've seen people handle that is to use that new kit as a second point of contact and say, when it comes to you, I'll make an appointment, we can get together, you can give me the kit, and I can talk to you some more about the oils and see how you're doing and follow up with them that way and see and make sure that they've been using the oils, that they haven't lost some kind of energy with them, that they've actually opened them and they're not just sitting on the shelf.
Oh, that's really interesting. I have not heard of that before, but it makes total sense.
So I guess in that scenario, they would definitely have to be local from a vendor event. So I guess maybe in most cases, no, I don't know, because at least in other industries where I've done vendor events, not related to this though, sometimes they can be from all over the place.
True, Donna, but when you're talking the little kitschy ones like Bev was talking about, like say like a doggy fun day event or something like that, most of your people are going to be local. If it's like a farmer's market event or a Mind and Body Expo or something, the people that come to it are going to be local. The vendors may not be local, but the people that come to it are probably local.
Okay, that's good to keep in mind.
Yes, and that actually brings up an interesting point, because I know I was actually sometimes the most successful at selling kits to other vendors.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. You make the rounds before or after during setup and talk to people, and you can usually invite them over, and they're more than happy to take a moment to come over and see you.
Pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely. Other vendors are your friends for sure. So backing up, I was just so excited about vendor events. I just had to dive right in there. Backing up to chapter 5. This chapter with the purple bags was interesting. She had this statistic in here that 80% of your business is simply carrying the right tools. And in a book that Terry and I did together called How Big Is Your Wave? We outlined our traveling office, is what we called it. And so imagine taking like a nice sized shoulder bag that looks a little professional. It doesn't have to be a briefcase, but it kind of looks nice. And in there is basically everything that you need to sign someone up. So it would be your essential oils desk reference in case you needed to look up information, a clipboard that had order forms on it in case you actually were going to sell something, and then you would have some brochures in there, and you would have some samples in there, just anything that you would need should somebody start an essential oil conversation. And so we recommended that everybody just kind of have this traveling office with them in their trunk, so that any given moment when somebody strikes up a conversation about oils, or if you do, you're ready to serve them right away. And this was a really effective tool. What I like about the purple bags, and I've seen these purple bags at different vendor events, is that it's so simple because it kind of takes the guesswork out of what you can give someone, And so she says that she averages 6 to 8 kit sales a month by carrying the purple bags on her. And I think that's quite interesting. The only thing is that I have listened to the Essential Oil 101 Oil Ability recording, and the only downside to it is that she gives her member number probably 50 times while she's talking through the 101 script. And that, of course, could lead to a little bit of confusion Because if, you were the one who gave that CD to someone, but they don't really know you, and they end up going to the website and signing up, the possibility exists that they could sign up with Sarah Harnisch's member number. So I would just say to be aware of that.
Yeah, I think she's changed that.
Oh, good.
Because I know that was an issue that people had voiced to her, and I believe that she has changed that and taken her member number out.
I believe so too, because I think the last time I listened to it, she did make a comment on there a couple of times to go to the person that handed you this CD.
Oh, good. I am so happy to hear that. Of course, in the back of my mind, I was like, I wonder how I could fit in my member number. Like, go put in this member number, and then you have like your own member number in there. Like, that would be awesome. So, I have not listened to Toxin Free Life CD, but I know that topic really resonates with me. So I might be ordering that one in.
Yeah. I listened to that one a long time ago. It's just as good as the essential oils one. So, and I do have them. And the only thing is, I don't know, and maybe somebody else knows, because I haven't listened to those CDs in a while, because so much has happened since those CDs were first created in terms of how Young Living, the business is changing. I would imagine that everything would need to be updated soon, particularly when we go to the new platform.
Right, right. It's so odd right now talking about the new platform, knowing that, platinums and above are on the completely new platform.
Yeah.
And then below platinums and below are not. So when I'm teaching classes now, I try to mention both just in case there is a platinum or above on the class. But yeah, that is really interesting. So I might order in both of those, and then maybe I'll just listen to them and see what they're like. And also, I have never read your game plan, and I've also never read Fearless. So I feel like I've got to go through that so that I know what my people are hearing. But I mean, I would be willing to carry them around and find people to give them to if I was making 6 to 8 kit sales a month.
Yeah. Now, I have read your game plan, and at least going through Unstuck now, a lot of it's kind of the similar, just told in it from a different perspective. But the information so far seems to be quite the same, but just from a different perspective, depending on where you're at in your business.
Got you. Well, and I can kind of see that too. Perhaps Fearless, our game plan is more for people at the beginning, and Unstuck is more for people like us who have been in for a few years.
Yes, yes. And I know even thinking about game plan, and I don't know if she'll address this in Unstuck as well, is one of the things, like when game plan first came out, Sarah Harnisch talked about teaching classes, and when I would talk to my people about that, some people were just like, well, I'm not comfortable, in front of a group. And as I began to, read the book, there's like a whole chapter on teaching classes is not just teaching in front of a group. If it's one-on-one, that counts as teaching a class. You're sharing. And I remember I had the opportunity to meet Sarah Harnisch, and I was telling her, I'm just like, people are skipping over this chapter. You need to highlight this more, because I said at that time I had a lot of people on my team who wanted to share but were uncomfortable in front of a group. And she's like, oh my goodness. And she actually gave me stuff that I could actually hand out to people and say, look, if you're not comfortable teaching, let me teach the class for you. And she actually has DVDs that she can teach the class for you as well.
Yes, that's something that she mentions in there. She has somebody who went to either silver or gold on her team just by inviting people over and popping in a CD and then sitting down and letting Sarah Harnisch actually teach the class on a DVD. And then at the end of the class, getting up and asking people if they had any additional questions and did she be available to answer. And she made it all the way to silver or gold just by doing that.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing to highlight, because there are some people, no matter how many times you go over it, that's just not their thing. And that doesn't mean that they can't build a business. Yeah,
that's a good point. I feel like I want to find those DVDs and watch them, because, you could literally mail those all over the country. See, I'm so into easily mailable or easily emailed information that you can disperse to people, because it really is all about education. I loved the Missing Link CD from Gary Young. You guys remember the Missing Link? I felt like if
Yes.
anybody listened to the Missing Link, they would immediately begin buying oils. I mean, it was such a good teaching.
Yeah, but then they outlaw that.
I was gonna say I've been in for 5 years and I haven't seen it yet.
Well,
Oh man.
it is on the naughty list. But that's why I
Yeah.
miss it. I mean, I did actually digitize a recording that I have on my computer, but you kind of can't share it with anybody and be FDA compliant at all. But it's such great information, you know?
Yeah. Though I will say, and I don't know, I think Beverly, you and I had this conversation a couple of years ago. There are a few diamonds. I actually think it's Marcella Von Harding that says if it's in your living room, you can share freely. Are they
Yes.
still allowing that?
Well, and that's kind of what Mary Young said as well. Like you can share, and especially if somebody is already signed up, then you can
Right.
share a lot more things than before they sign up. So, you know, but I mean, it all comes down to your intention, really. And ultimately,
Yes.
that's what the FDA wants to know. Like, is it your intention to deceive people and say that you can cure their cancer with just the purchase of $4,000 worth of essential oils? Or is your heart just to educate people and help them to live a better, a healthier, um, you know, more balanced, less toxic life? So, you know, so long as what you're doing and saying is in the vein of helping others live a better life, then you're fine. You know, and you can also share your own personal testimonies and things like that in a one-on-one setting. You know, they just want to prevent people from being taken advantage of at a very vulnerable time in their life.
Right.
Which is why we have those disclaimers saying that it may work for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will work for you.
Yes, exactly. And the fact that you're not a doctor and you're not trying to treat or diagnose anybody. I mean, those aren't fail safes. I mean, you could put up all the FDA warnings in the world that you want to. And if you're claiming that if you swallow a bottle of frankincense essential oils, it will cure all your cancer woes, you're still going to get in trouble, even though it says, you know, I'm not trying to treat or diagnose you, or, you know, this hasn't been evaluated by the FDA. Like, you just don't want to run around curing things. So,
Right.
which is good, because that really isn't in line with our mission anyway. You know, Sarah actually had a really good mission statement in chapter 7. Let me see here. I believe in empowering women, or men if you're male, to make good choices for their families.
Right.
And that was her mission statement that she uses to speak with people. So I think with my mission statement, I really want people to have toxin-free homes. And the way to do that is to just start bottle swapping everything that's in your house. Like, let me help you come up with a plan. And at the end of it, you're going to have a toxin-free home within your budget, you know. So I love speaking with people about that. You know, that's one of my passions.
And I think that's actually a good point for everyone to have your own personal mission statement that you can talk to people about, so they know the main point of what you're trying to offer or educate. Like for me, is I want to reach as many people as possible to educate them on how they can take charge of their health and to live in wellness without fear. That's what I do. And when I say that, people understand it.
Well, and it's also nice because it makes it clear to you as well. Like,
Yes.
you yourself can say, you know, I want to choose to do this vendor event. Is this vendor event in line with what my mission statement is? And it helps you, yeah, it helps you develop boundaries.
Yeah, it really does.
So in chapter 5, I think, okay, so one of the things that I felt a little convicted about was when she talks about giving things to people and not expecting or asking for anything in return. I think that that's hilarious, because I would totally be one of those. I do it all the time. Like, somebody has a problem and I just give them an oil and I'm like, here, go see if this will take care of the problem. And I never ask for their contact information or anything like that. Or like, sometimes I'll give someone an oil And I'll be like, well, use it. And if it works, then pay me for it. And that didn't always work out either. And it's not because they want to steal my oil, but life is busy and they forget they borrowed the oil. I forget that I gave it to them. Like, it just wasn't a good way of doing things. So,
it's funny. My group, my team meeting last night, we actually had that discussion. Like, what do you do when you give somebody an oil, that they even intend to pay you for, and then they completely forget? So that was an interesting discussion. But and I think we all have made that mistake, particularly in the beginning. But what I do now is, if I'm going to give somebody an oil or a sample, or even just apply it to them, I say, you know what? I just ask for one thing, and that is, let me know how it worked for you. And also, and I think she mentioned this in chapter 5 or chapter 7, let them know when you're going to follow up with them so that they can tell you exactly how it worked for them. And then you have another conversation, because as we learned last time, every conversation is an investment.
Donna, weren't you the one that said about speaking life over your business a couple weeks ago? Bev, if I can interject, part of it was you said, if it works for you, and that gives them an out.
Well, here's the thing, because there are cases where somebody may have a pain or something, and you may give them an oil for that particular pain, and it doesn't take it away. So
no, I totally get that, but I like the way you said it, where you said you need to let me know how it works for you instead of if it works for you. Because if you say if it works for you, it's giving them an opportunity and an out to not contact you again, because maybe in their mind they're saying, well, it didn't work for me, so I don't have to contact her.
Yeah, no,
that's funny.
No, I agree, 100%. Yes, good point.
Yeah, that's a good call. Good call, Cheryl.
Yeah.
So Sarah suggests that we become Facebook friends with the person, and then she has this little script in the printed book. It's on chapter 8 that she sends to people right away. So, like, let's say that she hands them a purple bag. She asks them, she doesn't ask them for their cell phone number or address or any of that. She just says, would you mind if I Facebook friend you? And so right away in Messenger, she'll send this little message saying, this is Sarah, your creepy oil lady. Thank you for letting me pour into you today. I really believe that CD is the answer that you've been looking for. Take a listen to it on your way home, and I'll check in, on, interdate here to see if you're okay. I'm sorry you had such a stressful day. You made a difference in mine with just your kindness. So what's interesting is that I think we have to adjust that just a little bit, because not everybody's on Facebook. What's really funny is I would actually rather give someone my cell phone number than to be friends with them on Facebook.
Me too.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Because what I normally do is I say, you know what? Let me give you my phone number. And then what I do is I say, I don't even have a piece of paper. Let me call your phone. What's your number, so I can call your phone, and then you have my number, and then I have their number. So it's not like, can I have your number? It's just like, let me give you my number, so let me call your phone. And we've exchanged numbers.
Yeah, I think that's so funny, because because Facebook also shows all of my family, all of my friends, all of my interactions, where I'm headed. I am less comfortable being a Facebook friend with somebody than to just let them have my cell phone.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So funny.
So can I ask a question? This from someone who is trying to learn how to be more consistent in this area. When you go to get someone's contact information, how do you make it and word it so that it doesn't come out as creepy stalker? If I can say it that way, because I feel if I'm asking them for their information, I feel uncomfortable in doing that, and I'm not sure if my feelings are portraying over to them and makes them uncomfortable giving it back to me. But that's one place where I seem to lose everything. I can't seem to get somebody to give me their contact information, and it goes no further. And I feel like I've lost a lot of momentum in that area.
Well, what I do is like how you stated, getting back to the conscious language. I say, like, oh, okay. So now they've said okay. And then I'll say, well, how about if I call your phone so that you'll have my number? And then they're like, okay. And so then they just rattle off their number. They take out their phone. I say, okay, what's your number? And I plug it in and I call their phone. So it never comes off as creepy, because I started off with not can I have your number or can I have your contact information, is let me give you my number, and this is an easy way to do it, so it'll be right on your phone.
Okay, that's I like how that's phrased.
Yeah,
with confidence.
I've also, if I'm just talking with somebody about essential oils and they're interested in oils, I will also ask them if they're interested in receiving my weekly educational newsletter about oils. And then I will take it and I will, tap on the, like I have my Marketing Sense app on my phone, or like a shortcut that will go into my Marketing Sense. So I'll just open it up and I'll open up to add a contact, and I'll just turn it around and let them put in their information, like their first name, last name, and their email, if they're interested in getting my emailed newsletter. And then I will ask the $1,000,000 question, which is, and are you interested in the oils, the business, or both? And then I'll just go from there. Because even if they say, oh, I'm just interested in the oils, it's like they kind of know that there's a business opportunity available. And then, yeah, I'll just kind of take it from there. So that seems to be, offering somebody a newsletter or some education seems to be a pretty easy way to do it too.
I like that.
Okay, thank you.
Beverly, just curious, so kind of off the top of your head, how many people, like, or what percentage of people where you say, are you interested in the oils, the business, or both, actually say business? I'm just curious.
Oh, you know what? Most people say both.
Both? Okay.
Uh-huh. I actually, I don't know if I've ever had anybody say just business, but I would say that most people will say both.
Okay.
So, because it's like, why just have one when you can have another? If somebody does just say that they're interested in one, then usually what they say is, well, I just want to try, I want to get the information about the oils, and then if I like it, I would be interested in talking about the business. So I will hear that too, but more often than not, yeah, people will tell me that they're interested in both.
And I actually like that method, because I think it was in chapter 7 that she mentions about teasing people with the
Yes.
business during the class. So that's a real, just kind of soft way of letting people know right up front there is a business. And who knows, because sometimes people that are even interested in the business sometimes are scared to say it.
Right. And so another little thing that you can do as well to just start that conversation is to have an essential oil class. Keep it short. Like, there's no reason why an essential oil class needs to take even a full hour necessarily, unless people are just really asking questions. So one of the things that I really like to do is to have my essential oil class and then right after have a business class. And so if it's in person, you can have like 5 or 6 people over and you're doing an essential oil class. And then right after that, you will have a business class. And you'll be amazed at how many essential oil people will end up staying. And even if they're just chatting with each other in the back of the room, they're still absorbing that business information and getting exposed to it. Online, I'll do the same thing. And so I'll be doing a live streamed class, and I will say, okay, everybody who is interested in our business, go ahead and stay on. We're going to be joined by a few others who want to hear about the Young Living business. If you were just here for the oils, thank you so much for coming tonight. But if you are interested in hearing a little bit about the business, just stay on, and we are going to get to that next.
Interesting. I like that. I'm thinking, and I don't know what anybody else, what their experience is, with your different groups. I might be challenged because lots of times our meetings go too long. I'm thinking they was like, if we can figure out how to get our classes under an hour, that would be great.
Well, and some of that too is just deciding what kind of a class you're doing. I actually will separate out my classes from my trainings. So if I'm going to have a training, which is with people who are already signed up and it's very in-depth information, that's a little different than just doing a class with someone, which I think is more on the 101 level. And 101 classes, I like to be nice and quick. So, essential oil 101, supplements 101, Ningxia Red 101, toxic free living 101. All of those puppies from beginning to end should be like 45 minutes.
Yeah. No, 45 minutes, that's good. Yeah, but even after 45 minutes, I'm like, whew. So how long does the business class training part of it go?
Oh, I will outline the business in about, another 30 minutes or so, just kind of do a quick overview and then take questions. So, but
Okay.
I also used to teach a class called Essential Oils 101 in 30 minutes or less, and that one was really popular.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I like that. I can see why that would be popular. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, just about anything that you can do, if you can advertise that you're going to do it in 30 minutes or less, people will show up.
Right.
They'll be like, okay, I have a half an hour.
I got that. As a tool, I'm curious if anyone else has tried. This is something that I had started doing or have started doing, and it's proven to be pretty successful.
Oh,
my video was like 43 minutes, and just texting that link out, and I get signups from that.
Say it again, Donna. I lost a little bit of your audio in the beginning. You've had success with doing what?
Creating my own video class, just me teaching the class and sending that link out, even though it's 43 minutes. It has worked in getting signups.
Yeah, yes. I think anything that you can do that where you can use it again or send it out again or post it and boost it. I mean, we are all like busy people, it's like we can't be kind of one and done, you know what I mean? So yeah, when I teach an online class, I definitely always record it. I put it on YouTube, I'll put it on Facebook and try to give it a little boost and just get, some interest with it.
Yeah, because my whole thing is that if you can, how much time you save, if you can text out a link to a video 100 times, you've saved 100 hours.
Right. And what's nice is if you were to take that video and put it into Marketing Sense, using that video creator, like you upload it into Marketing Sense, when you send that link to someone, you will actually be able to see if they opened the video, and then it will tell you how much of that video they actually watched.
Thank you for that. I'm doing that because I got Marketing Sense. I'm doing it.
Yes, that being able to see when somebody opens your emails and then like what links they actually interacted with or how much of what you sent them they watched, I think is one of the biggest upsides to that system.
That's great. Good to know. Thank you for that tip.
Yes, you are very welcome. So does anyone have any comments on those 3 chapters or any tips you want to share? You can, if you're not yet a speaker but you would like to be, please feel free to raise your hand and I will make you a speaker. Let me see here. I think you were the only one there. I think everybody has a speaker invitation, but if yours went away or expired, you can just hit that hand button with the piece of paper and we can make you a speaker.
Just one comment, Bev, when you were saying about how you and Terry made your office in a bag.
Yes.
A really good one to do is if anybody was at convention several years ago when they gave out those messenger bags, the nice gray ones that were shoulder bags that were embroidered and everything, those would make an excellent office bag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Young Living bags that they used to give away at convention, I think have always been amazing. Also, another good bag to carry around were those bags that have the clear pocket in the front that you can put essential oils in. And, I was surprised at how many people asked me about my oils that were hanging out in my clear pocket in the front of my bag.
Yeah, that works too. I actually have that bag, but I also, what I did a few years ago is on Amazon, I actually bought a purse where the entire front of the purse, I mean, so it wasn't like a book bag or anything like that. It was a very nice looking purse, and the whole front was clear compartments, and I just lined up my oils in a nice decorative fashion, and I would take that bag grocery shopping or whatever other shopping I was doing, and always people would ask me about them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, isn't it funny how many of these little tips I used to use all the time that I feel like I have forgotten about, you know?
Yeah, me too.
It's like, you know, sometimes when I became a silver, I feel like I switched from training more than growing more. And my business has really suffered for it, for sure. And so I think it's time for me to kind of rediscover some of these things that I used to do that I don't do anymore that were actually successful. So I'm going to look online for that purse. And Donna, if you happen to find it, if you want to post a link to it in the leadership book club Facebook group, that would be great because that would be really fun. Then we should have a challenge. We should take, you know, you got to snap a photo, a little selfie of going places with your travel bag.
And it made it really nice. I mean, it was beautiful. It was like nice looking. That was the other thing. So oils make a good accent pieces.
Yeah, they do, especially with all their beautiful, vibrant colors, like the beautiful colors of the bottle, I think, make them really intriguing.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Donna, do you have anything else you would like to add to the book club today?
Well, I just kind of wanted to throw out there just to get people's feelings about this. In chapter 7, Sarah talks about your friend circles, getting to the friends of your friends. And so last week we were talking about being very careful with your warm market. And I just like to get a pulse on how people and your comfort level in talking to friends of friends. Anybody can chime in.
Well, I can tell you I've never done it, and the thought kind of terrifies me a little bit.
Really?
I don't know why. I had to kind of confront that fear when I was reading it. And actually, I can tell you what gives me pause about that is that I never want to come across like I'm using people. And I feel like if I jump in with the friends of friends too soon, I'm going to come across as like the used car salesman of the MLM world, right? Like, how can we get you and all of your friends into this oil kit today? But I think if the goal is to really plug in and get a lot of families using essential oils and living toxin free, then, I mean, that's kind of the direction you have to head with it.
Yeah. It looks like, Amy, were you trying to come up as a speaker? I tried to bring you up because it looked like your hand is raised, but I was not successful in doing that.
There, did that do it?
Can you see Beverly?
Yes, this is Kim. You weren't successful because I was in the middle of taking care of my mom. That was the only reason. That way I could be quiet, take the phone with me, and get her taken care of. A funny story on this subject is I signed up under a friend of mine, Janice Sabo, and her leader, who is supporting her, very wonderful person, is on the Royal Dream Team, and she reached out to me right away to be just very helpful and very genuine, and just wanted to let me know that she was there to assist Janice. She was new, and she just wanted to make herself available. Well, I had those feelings that you were just talking about, like, who is this person? Who is trying to reach out to me? Protecting my friend who got me involved with the oils in the first place. Well, lo and behold, that was not the direction and the intent of her leader at all. So once we were able to actually have a communication by conversation, we were then able to understand each other that, one, I was protecting Janice, two, she was just supporting Janice, but I had no idea who she was. So I think it's on how you approach it. And that way, in the future, when she approached new people supporting her legs, she could just introduce herself as the leader who is supporting whomever, signed us up at that time frame, which then didn't make it so kind of salesy, as well as being concerned that someone's trying to take business away from my friend who sold me the oils in the first place. So I just wanted to share that.
Yes, and that's a very good point. Whenever I reach out to, as a leader, to somebody new who has kind of popped up on my team.
No, thanks, Kimmy, for sharing that. I'm sorry I missed the very beginning of it, but I did hear the end because I was trying to bring somebody else up and something's wrong with my phone. But no, go ahead.
I was going to say that's not a problem. High summary level is I did have someone reach out to me, and they were supporting their team member. I was very protective of the person that signed me up. And so I really kind of put up my guard and my fences with that team leader who I love and adore, but it was a learning lesson for all of us, and it allowed that team leader to change the approach. So we weren't feeling so vulnerable that someone else was coming in and trying to, scoop up sales.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It was like cross-line recruiting type of thing?
Yes, yes.
Oh,